Okay, let us start our today's session. So, in the last session, we were discussing about structure of messenger RNA. Now you know messenger RNA. It is a linear polynucleotide chain. It starts with the 5' end and ends at the 3' end. At its 5' end, there is a methylated guanine cap that is followed by 5' UTR untranslated region having some 10 to 100 nucleotides in it which are not translated. Then 5' UTR is followed by a coding region. Coding region starts with insertion codon, which is mostly AUG, but sometimes it may be GUG, or sometimes it may be some other codon, right? Then there are other code words, there are other codons, and at the end of coding region, there is a stop codon. That stop codon, as you know, it may be UAG, it may be UGA, or it may be UAA, right? So at the insertion codon, synthesis of a polypeptide chain starts. And at stop codon, the synthesis of polypeptide chain comes to an end. That comes to an end, that stops. Then this stop codon is followed by 3' UTR, 3' untranslated region, which consists of some 50 to 150 nucleotides. Those nucleotides are not translated. Then that is followed by a poly A tail, formed of some 200 to 250 nucleotides. We call it poly A because this tail is rich in adenine nucleotide. Most of the nucleotides in this tail are adenine nucleotides. That is why we call it as poly A tail, right? So that was the structure of messenger RNA molecule. Now, where from this messenger RNA molecule comes? Messenger molecule RNA, it is formed from DNA, as I told you yesterday, right? By the help of an enzyme known as RNA polymerase. That enzyme is known as RNA polymerase second, right? So it is formed from DNA by the help of RNA polymerase second. And when this messenger RNA is produced in eukaryotes, this messenger RNA, when it is formed, it contains some regions in its coding region which are not translated, right? So that messenger RNA, which has got some non-translating regions in its coding region, that messenger RNA is known as raw messenger RNA. So when it is formed from DNA, it is in the form of a raw messenger RNA, or we call it as heterogeneous nuclear RNA, nuclear RNA, which is written as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. So what is the problem with this raw messenger RNA? When it is formed from DNA, it has got some regions in it which are to be cut out from it to make it functional. Suppose this is the messenger RNA. In this messenger RNA, there are some regions which are not translated, which are to be cut. These regions, which do not have information for polypeptide, they are known as introns. They are known as introns. So among the coding region, there are these introns. The part of messenger RNA which codes for polypeptide chain, that is known as an exon. That is known as an exon. So this part is an exon, this is also an exon, this is also an exon, right? And in between these exons, there are some regions in the messenger RNA which will not code for polypeptide chain. So they are to be spliced out, they are to be cut. So these introns need to be removed in messenger RNA of eukaryotes. So this messenger RNA, which is formed from DNA in the nucleus of the eukaryotic cell, this messenger RNA is said to be raw messenger RNA, or we call it as heterogeneous nuclear RNA, because this messenger RNA is not mature yet, right? So by the help of certain enzymes, these introns, intron means intragenic region, intragenic region. Intron means an intragenic region. This is to be cut out. It is to be spliced out. It needs to be splice it out. So certain enzymes, they will cut out these introns, right? So when these introns are removed from the messenger RNA, then this region of messenger RNA, which only has now exons in it, right? This messenger RNA, which after splicing only has got exons in it, this messenger RNA is now known as the mature messenger RNA. Mature messenger RNA. And now this messenger RNA will join with the ribosome. It will join with the ribosome. And ribosome will translate. Ribosome will translate the information contained in it to form a protein, to form a polypeptide chain. To form a polypeptide chain. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in eukaryotes, when the messenger RNA is formed from DNA, that messenger RNA contains some regions in it known as introns, which do not have information for protein synthesis. So those introns need to be spliced out. They need to be cut out. So this messenger RNA, which has got introns along with exons in it, this messenger RNA is known as raw messenger RNA, or we call it as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. This is known as heterogeneous nuclear RNA. So it has to undergo a process of splicing. It has to undergo a process of splicing, where by the help of enzymes, these introns will be cut out from it. Introns will be removed from this messenger RNA, so that only the exons remain there. And then this messenger RNA, which is produced after splicing of introns, this messenger RNA is now known as mature messenger RNA. Now this mature messenger RNA, it joins with the ribosome, and ribosome reads the information contained in it. Ribosome reads the information contained in it. In this messenger RNA, there is information for the synthesis of a polypeptide chain. So according to the information contained in it, according to the codons contained in it, ribosome will join the amino acids to form a polypeptide chain, right? Now you may have heard about monocistronic messenger RNA and polycistronic messenger RNA. Have you heard about monocistronic messenger RNA and polycistronic messenger RNA? In prokaryotes, the messenger RNA is polycistronic. In prokaryotes, messenger RNA is polycistronic. It is polycistronic. What is a cistron? Cistron is an alternative term for gene. How can you define a gene? How do you define a gene? So we say gene is a segment of DNA which codes for a polypeptide or which contributes to a phenotype. So we say gene is a segment of DNA which codes for a polypeptide chain or which contributes to phenotype, right? So similarly, cistron is a segment of DNA which has got information for a polypeptide chain or which contributes to a phenotype, right? So cistron is an alternative term for gene. In prokaryotes, this messenger RNA, it is polycistronic. That means this messenger RNA, it has got information for more than one polypeptide chains in it. Suppose this is a messenger RNA. It has got information here for galactosidase enzyme. Galactosidase enzyme. Here it has got information for permease enzyme. Permease enzyme. Here it has got information for transacetylase. Transacetylase enzyme. So this is a single messenger RNA molecule. This is a single messenger RNA molecule in prokaryotes. In this single messenger RNA, there is information for one separate polypeptide which will lead to formation of an enzyme, galactosidase. In this messenger RNA, there is information for another enzyme, permease. In this single messenger RNA, there is information for another enzyme, transacetylase, right? So when a messenger RNA has got information for more than one polypeptide chain in it, that means when a messenger RNA is having more than one gene in it, right? Information of more than one gene in it, right? That messenger RNA is said to be polycistronic. Are you following me? So this messenger RNA, it has got information of 3 different genes in it. It has copied the information from 3 different genes. It has copied the information from a gene which is responsible for formation of an enzyme galactosidase, right? So in this messenger RNA, there is information for the formation of an enzyme galactosidase. In this messenger RNA, there is information for the formation of an enzyme permease. In this messenger RNA, there is the information for the formation of an enzyme transacetylase. So this single messenger RNA molecule, it has copied information from 3 genes which are closely clustered together, right? So this messenger RNA is known as polycistronic messenger RNA. This is known as polycistronic messenger RNA. While as in eukaryotes, the messenger RNA is monocistronic. In eukaryotes, the messenger RNA is monocistronic. That means it has got information for a single polypeptide chain. For a single polypeptide chain, right? So it has got information for a single protein, right? So when a messenger RNA molecule has information for more than one protein, that messenger RNA is known as polycistronic. When a messenger RNA has got information for only one single protein, that is known as monocistronic, right? And it is in these monocistronic messenger RNA molecules that we find introns and exons. In these monocistronic messenger RNA molecules, the introns are to be spliced out. Whereas in these polycistronic messenger RNA molecules, there are not found introns. Introns are not found. Are you following me? So messenger RNA molecule, it is formed by prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. What is the difference between messenger RNA molecule of prokaryotes and eukaryotes? In prokaryotes, the messenger RNA molecule is polycistronic, right? It has got information of more than one gene in it, right? In eukaryotes, the messenger RNA molecule is monocistronic. It only copies the information from a single gene, and it will only lead to the formation of a single polypeptide chain or a single protein, right? So that is all about the structure of messenger RNA molecules, right? Now, what is the function of this messenger RNA molecule? What is its function? It copies the information from DNA and it carries this information to ribosome. Messenger RNA molecule, mRNA, it copies information. It copies information from DNA, from DNA, and carries it to ribosome. It carries the information to ribosome, and these ribosomes, they translate this information. They translate this information to form a polypeptide chain. And this polypeptide chain will then become a protein. It will become a functional protein, right? So this is the function of messenger RNA molecule. So they copy the information from DNA, they take the information from DNA, and then they carry this information to ribosomes, where ribosomes translate the information. And according to the information contained in messenger RNA, ribosome forms the rocaille protein. So that is all about messenger RNA molecule. Now, after messenger RNA molecule, there is another type of RNA that is known as transfer RNA. Transfer RNA. As the name indicates, transfer RNA, it is involved in transfer of, it is involved in transfer of amino acids from cytoplasm to ribosomes. So they act as vehicles. Transfer RNAs, they act as vehicles which carry amino acids, to ribosomes. That is why they are known as transfer RNAs. So you know this transfer RNA, how much of total RNA content it forms? It forms some 10 to 20% of total RNA content of the cell, right? So this transfer RNA, it is again a single polynucleotide chain. It is again a single polynucleotide chain. Polynucleotide chain. A transfer RNA is also a single polynucleotide chain. It has got a 5' end and a 3' end. But this transfer RNA then assumes a secondary structure. This transfer RNA, it becomes bent, and it forms some, at many places it develops paired nucleotides and it forms loops, right? So it assumes a secondary structure. By bending and folding, right? So we will have a look at the secondary structure. Its secondary structure is known as cloverleaf structure. It was proposed by a scientist, Robert Holly. This single polynucleotide chain of transfer RNA, it becomes bent and folded to form a clover leaf-like structure. It forms a clover leaf-like structure. This clover leaf model of RNA, transfer RNA, it was worked out by Robert Holly in 1965. And in 1968, he shared Nobel Prize in physiology and medicine. With Hargobind Khurana and Marshall Nierenberg. So clover leaf structure of transfer RNA was given by Robert Holly in 1965. And for this he shared a Nobel Prize with. He got a Nobel Prize along with Hargobind Khurana and Marshall Nierenberg in physiology and medicine, right? Nobel Prize for physiology and medicine, that includes scientists from zoology, botany, biochemistry, right? Medical sciences. So he shared a Nobel Prize. He got a Nobel Prize for deciphering this cloverleaf model of transfer RNA, along with Hargobind Khurana and Marshall Nierenberg in 1968, right? So it was at that time considered as a major breakthrough because the structure of transfer RNA, it was not fully understood. And it was the work of Robert Holly, Hargobind Khurana, and Marshall Nierenberg, which made us to understand the structure of transfer RNA, right? Now we will have a look at this cloverleaf model of transfer RNA as proposed by Robert Holly, right? So I told you this transfer RNA, it is a single polynucleotide chain. Then this single polynucleotide chain, it bends and folds to form a clover leaf structure. So it bends and folds like this. Do you understand what is clover leaf? Do you know what is a clover leaf? Do you know what is a clover leaf? Rong shwa travan chavan? Long. इसको कश्मीरी में हम रोंग बोलते हैं, रोंग मसाल. Haven't you seen anything like this in your spices? इस पर सो मसाला आसान सो लट कर बन आसान कल हिू साइडस आसान कित पटन रोंग लोंग उसको बोलते हैं. That is known as clove, right? So it resembles in shape with this clover leaf, right? So this is a single polynucleotide gene. It is 5 prime end. It is 3 prime end. At 3 prime end, it has got nucleotides A, C, A, and there is OH group. This is just 3 prime end, right? So it is in total a single polynucleotide chain. The polynucleotide chain starts from 5 prime end. It becomes bend and fold, right? It bends and folds, and it ends at its 3 prime end. So this transfer RNA molecule, it is a single polynucleotide chain. It has got 7 paired nucleotides here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it develops an arm. In this arm, there are 7 paired nucleotides. Then it develops another arm where we have got 5 paired nucleotides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 paired nucleotides. It forms another arm where we again have 5 paired nucleotides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right? Then in this arm there are 4 paired nucleotides. And 4. Right? So we will call this as arm A. This is B. This is arm C. And we will call this arm as D. Right? So this A arm, this A, it is known as acceptor arm. This arm of transfer RNA, it is known as acceptor arm. Or we also call it as carrier arm or carrier end. Carrier arm or end. Why it is known as acceptor arm? Why it is known as carrier arm? Why it is known as carrier end? Because it has got a 3 prime end. At this 3 prime end, an amino acid can join to it. An amino acid can bind to it. Amino acid joins to transfer RNA. So on this 3 prime end, it accepts an amino acid. That is why we call it as acceptor arm. The function of transfer RNA is to carry amino acids. So it carries amino acid. Where amino acid joins to it, so amino acid can join to it at its 3 prime end. So at this 3 prime end, amino acid can join to this transfer RNA. So it accepts the amino acid. For that reason, we call it as acceptor arm, right? Or we call it as carrier arm because it carries the amino acid. This 3 prime end carries the amino acid. So for that reason, this whole arm, it is known as acceptor arm or carrier arm, right? Then we have got B. This B, it is known as T size C arm. T size C arm, where psi stands for. Psi represents pseudouridine. Pseudouridine nucleotide. You know which nucleotides are found in DNA? Can you name the nucleotides of DNA? In DNA, there may be adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine nucleotides, right? You know, adenine always pairs with thymine, thymine always pairs with adenine, cytosine pairs with guanine, guanine pairs with cytosine. So these are the nucleotides of DNA. Similarly, you know the nucleotides of RNA. In RNA, there usually are nucleotides like adenine, uridine, cytosine, and guanine nucleotides. In RNA, we don't find thymidine nucleotide, right? So we should have in RNA adenine nucleotide, uridine nucleotide, cytidine nucleotide, guanine nucleotide, right? But here in this loop, here there are 7 unpaired nucleotides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In this loop, there are 7 unpaired nucleotides. And among these nucleotides, we have got a nucleotide here known as thymidine nucleotide, which should not have been usually present, right? But it is found here. And then it is followed by another unusual nucleotide, pseudouridine nucleotide, right? So that is why we call it as T-cy-CR, right? Then there is cytidine nucleotide. So in this arm, there is a thymidine nucleotide followed by pseudouridine nucleotide followed by cytidine nucleotide. That is why it is known as T-cy-CR. And this loop is known as T-cy-C loop. This loop is known as T-cy-C loop. Right? Do you understand what I am saying? In this loop, there are 7 unpaired nucleotides. There are 7 unpaired nucleotides. Among the first unpaired nucleotide is thymidine nucleotide. Usually we say thymidine is not found in RNA, right? But in this transfer RNA, we do find a thymidine nucleotide here, right? And then it is followed by another modified nucleotide, pseudouridine nucleotide. Pseudouridine nucleotide, right? Then it is followed by cytidine nucleotide. So because of this thymidine nucleotide, pseudouridine nucleotide, cytidine nucleotide, we call this loop as T-cy-C loop, right? So this whole arm is known as T-cy-C arm. And this loop where there are unpaired nucleotides. So it forms a loop because the nucleotides do not pair. And this loop is known as T-cy-C loop. Then we have got this C, third arm. This is known as anticodon. It is known as anticodon arm. In this anticodon arm, at the end of this anticodon arm, we find again a loop. We again find a loop. In this loop, there are again 7 unpaired nucleotides. There are again 7 unpaired nucleotides. In this anticodon loop, this is anticodon loop. This is anticodon loop. How a loop is formed? A loop is formed by unpaired nucleotides. Here 7 unpaired nucleotides, they form a loop. This loop is known as anticodon loop. And in this anticodon loop, these 3 nucleotides, they serve as anticodon. They serve as anticodon. These 3 nucleotides, they serve as anticodon. What do you understand by anticodon? This transfer RNA will only carry an amino acid whose anticodon is present here. Whose anticodon is present here. Suppose we need to carry methionine amino acid. We have to transfer methionine amino acid. You know what is the code word for? What is the codon for methionine amino acid? I have told you yesterday. The code word for methionine amino acid is AUG. Right? Methionine amino acid is coded by a codon AUG. Which transfer RNA will carry this methionine? Which transfer RNA will carry this methionine? A transfer RNA who has got anticodon of methionine. What will be opposite of A? U. What will be opposite of A? U. What will be opposite of U? A. And what will be opposite of C? Sorry, G. It will be C. So a transfer RNA which has got UAC here, a transfer RNA which has got anticodon UAC at this place, that will only carry methionine, right? Do you understand what I am saying? I am saying you that transfer RNAs, they carry amino acids. Do amino acids join to transfer RNAs randomly? No. Amino acids do not join to transfer RNAs randomly. These transfer RNAs, they are selective in transport of amino acids. This transfer RNA, it has got an anticodon, UAC. It will only carry an amino acid whose codon is opposite to it. What is the opposite of UAC? Opposite of UAC is AUG. So that means this transfer RNA, it will only carry methionine amino acid because methionine is coded by AUG. The code word for methionine is AUG. So this transfer RNA, it has anticodon for methionine. So this transfer RNA will only carry methionine amino acid. This transfer RNA will only carry methionine amino acid with it, right? So this is the anticodon loop, and here is the anticodon, right? Then there is another arm, that is the D arm. This D, it is known as DR. We call it as DR. Why we call it as DR? Because in this loop, there are again modified nucleotides. There are again modified nucleotides. Dihydrouridine nucleotides. Dihydrouridine nucleotides. In it, right? In the loop of DR, there are again some modified nucleotides. There are modified nucleotides, dihydrouridine nucleotides. This dihydrouridine nucleotide, it gives it the name D arm, and this is the D loop. This is the D loop, right? So how many arms are now in total to this transfer arm? There is one arm known as acceptor arm. There is another arm known as T side C arm. There is another arm that is known as anticodon arm, and then there is another arm known as D arm, right? So this clover leaf model of transfer RNA, it indicates that this transfer RNA, it has got some arm-like structures known as A arm, acceptor arm, T side C arm, anticodon arm, D arm, right? Then in between these arms, there is a small loop. This loop, which is very small, this is known as variable number loop. This is known as variable number loop. It has got some nucleotides in it whose number varies. That is why we call it as variable number loop, right? So this is the structure of a transfer RNA, which was proposed by Robert Holley in 1965. So now you should understand that this transfer RNA, it is a single polynucleotide. Then it assumes a clover leaf-like structure. How it assumes a clover leaf shape? By bending and folding. So this transfer RNA, it starts with 5' end. It starts from 5' end. Then this single polynucleotide chain, it bends and folds. It bends and folds, and it forms a clover leaf-like structure. So it forms some arms. Here there are 7 paired nucleotides. Here we find 7 paired nucleotides, right? So these nucleotides, when they form hydrogen bonds, they bring close these ends of the polynucleotide. This is a single polynucleotide chain. So it brings different ends of it close together, and they form the arms. And it has got CCA-OH group at its end, right? This end is known as carrier end because it is at this end that amino acid can join to it. Which amino acid can join to it? That is determined by the anticodon. Only that amino acid can join to this end whose anticodon is present at anticodon site, right? This is the anticodon site. So only that amino acid can join to it whose anticodon is present here. In this example, I have shown you here methionine. The codon for methionine is AUG. its opposite is UAG, its anticodon is UAC, right? So this transfer RNA, it has got UAC here at anticodon site. So it will carry methionine amino acid, right? So in this way, this is the structure of transfer RNA. And this model of transfer RNA, it is known as cloverleaf model. Who proposed it? It was proposed by Robert Coley in 1965, and he got a Nobel Prize for this in 1968, along with Hargobind Khurana. That Hargobind Khurana was an Indian scientist, and he also got shared it with Marshall Nirenberg, right? Now, what is the function of transfer RNAs? No, you are mistaken. I have told you in the beginning. The function of transfer RNA is to carry amino acid from cytoplasm to ribosome. I have told you. I told you it acts as a vehicle. It's a guardian's kaam karan. It's paknawan. It acts as a vehicle, right? So who is its passenger? It acts as a vehicle. Who are its passengers? Amino acids are its passengers. Does it carry amino acids randomly? Does it carry amino acids randomly? No, it is very selective. It only carries that amino acid whose anticodon is present at its anticodon site, right? So the transfer RNAs, they are involved in transport of amino acids from cytoplasm to ribosomes, and they are specific in transport of amino acids. So only that amino acid will be carried whose anticodon is present at anticodon site. So how many transfer RNAs can be present in a cell? You know, we have got 64 codons. We have got 64 codons. Out of those 64 codons, 3 codons are stop codons, right? The remaining 61, they are the codons for amino acids, right? So a single amino acid may be represented by more than one codon. So there may be some 21 transfer RNAs. There may be some 21 transfer RNAs, which will carry those 20 or 21 amino acids. So that is all about transfer RNA. I think this is sufficient for today. Okay, thank you for being with me. I'm ending the meeting.